Today, we step beyond the facade of history's most infamous figure, to meet Adolf Hitler not as the towering dictator of textbooks and images, but as a human being shaped by doubt, struggle, and the complexities of his own psyche. We journey beyond the infamous symbols and chilling speeches to unearth the pivotal but little-known experiences that shaped his inner world. Here lies the story of a man who, for all his monstrous acts, once walked the same uncertain path of ambition and failure, bearing the marks of a difficult upbringing, strange alliances, and inner conflicts that few were privy to. Through his eyes we will explore the hidden mentors, rare friendships, and relentless ambitions that laid the groundwork for his rise and his ruin. This is an unflinching look into the psyche of a man marked by obsessive drive, resilience, and the disturbing costs of his unyielding will. From birth to his final days, we will witness how the ordinary life of a young boy grew into a figure both feared and mythologized, and discover the hidden price of such power and influence. Welcome to the untold story of Adolf Hitler, narrated from within his mind.
In a small room in Austria, I was born amidst modest surroundings, yet my family's struggles ran far deeper than material poverty. My father, a stern civil servant, imposed a rigid discipline that shaped my earliest memories with a blend of fear and obedience. Yet even as a boy, there were dreams that set me apart. Visions not yet tainted by politics or ideology. I would later recognize these early years as the birthplace of my resilience, forged under the weight of my father's expectations and my own fragile ambitions. My mother, quiet and nurturing, was my one comfort, a figure who instilled in me an idea of care and sacrifice, though she remained overshadowed by my father's will. I lived then in a world defined by discipline and duty, where small acts of kindness were a rarity, and even rarer was the feeling of being understood. Little did I know how these impressions would linger, becoming the foundation of an unstoppable drive to stand above others, to find recognition where I had felt so little. As a young man, the allure of Vienna promised escape, a new beginning, a place where I could feed my aspirations, unbound by the confines of a provincial town. But Vienna proved a city of harsh realities. I had arrived with a dream of becoming an artist, yet quickly faced rejection, dismissed by the academies as unskilled, unworthy. With every failure, a bitterness grew, an anger toward a world that seemed to favor others over me. This anger found voice in strange quarters. I became captivated by the passionate speeches of men whose ideas, though radical, resonated with my growing frustrations. They spoke of purpose, of identity, of a Germany rising above its rivals. The dream of artistic success faded as these ideas took root. And still, as a young man, I had to face the most troubling question of all. Was I destined for greatness or for insignificance? My 20s became a dark and winding corridor of self-doubt and survival. Rejected, penniless, I wandered, questioning if there was any purpose to my existence. But the First World War gave me the clarity I had longed for. As a soldier, I found a sense of belonging, of structure and loyalty. War granted me the first taste of camaraderie, purpose, and ultimately, pain. I witnessed death intimately, saw the frailty of life, and emerged with a hardened resolve. These were the years of silent personal battles, sacrifices few could see, fears that I buried beneath a cloak of stoicism. By the time the war ended, I was not the man I had been before. I had become something sharper, more driven, and still far from understanding the full implications of my newfound ideals. My rise to prominence came with its own peculiar isolation. Power may seem alluring, but in its grip I discovered an inner emptiness, a gnawing loneliness. I formed alliances, but few were friends. They were tools, means to an end. Each decision carried a hidden toll, a part of my humanity sacrificed in favor of ambition. Nights were spent in feverish planning, poring over maps, plotting the future of a nation as though it were a living extension of myself. The weight of my choices grew heavier with each passing day. There were moments of doubt, secret pangs of remorse, yet they were always swallowed by the belief in something greater, something unshakable in its conviction. And so, piece by piece, the man I'd once been disappeared, consumed by the persona I could no longer separate myself from. Among the most critical choices were those that would forever stain my legacy. With each bold step, I felt the pull of destiny, and yet the risks weighed heavily. There were moments when I questioned, times when I realized that a single misstep could unravel all I had built. But to hesitate was a luxury I could not afford. Each defining moment required a sacrifice of fear, of conscience, replaced by a steely determination that few could fathom. Those who knew me only saw the certainty in my eyes, unaware of the doubts buried deep beneath. I told myself that history was carved by those bold enough to act, no matter the price. It was this conviction, this terrifying resolve, that guided my hand in the decisions that would later haunt the world. Near the end, I was a man besieged, not only by the enemies surrounding me but by the regrets and consequences of my actions. Isolation had become my only companion, a prison fashioned by my own hands. The ideals that once drove me now seemed distant, empty echoes in the hollow halls of my thoughts. I looked back, haunted by the choices I had made, seeing in them a shadow of what I might have been. The pursuit of power had left me bereft of all else, and in those final days, a strange peace crept in, alongside an unshakable dread. I knew I would soon be leaving, and with me the burden of a legacy few would ever truly understand. As my story nears its end, I find myself drawn to one last reflection. I had lived by convictions that once felt noble, powerful, but greatness is a fragile thing, crafted in part by ambition, in part by sacrifice, yet always shadowed by the choices left unmade. If there is wisdom to share, it is this: that legacy is not only what we leave, but the shadows of what we might have been. Power, greatness, recognition, these are fleeting. It is the unseen sacrifices, the hidden truths, that endure. They are what I leave behind, for those who seek to understand not the legend, but the man. And so, as my voice fades from history's stage, I wonder not what they will remember, but who among them will truly see beyond the myth to the person I once was. May my life serve as a testament, a cautionary tale of ambition's deadly seduction. Let it remind those who follow that resilience must be tempered with reflection, that conviction must bow to conscience. For in the end, a life pursued without empathy, without remorse, leaves only shadows where legacy should have been.
And thus, with Adolf Hitler's final reflections, we close the pages on a life marked by towering ambition and a chilling legacy. His journey, for all its darkness, reveals a universal truth that in every life, greatness and tragedy walk hand in hand. As we turn away, may we remember that true strength lies not in domination but in understanding, and that the most lasting legacies are those that uplift rather than oppress the world around us. This is history, not as it was taught, but as it was lived, a mirror held up to humanity's unrelenting quest for meaning in an indifferent world. As we end this journey through the mind and memories of one of history's most polarizing figures, remember that history is not just facts and dates, but the lives of those who came before us. Adolf Hitler's story, as dark as it may be, serves as a reminder of how ambition without empathy can lead to unimaginable consequences. Thank you for watching, and let this story remind you to seek understanding, to find empathy, and to remember that our choices, however small, define the legacy we leave behind.